it's Khaki. Today I'd like to talk about a topic that my sweet husband Don actually recommended that I speak about. He has heard me talk about many times with acquaintances and patients who are going through the weight loss surgery process, who have concerns and difficulties talking with their loved ones or telling their loved ones that they are going to have weight loss surgery. So let's delve into that. When you are preparing to tell your family or other loved ones that you are having weight loss surgery, now by this I don't mean just your casual acquaintances, your coworkers, those people that you run into occasionally. I'm talking about your very close circle of people that you feel like you need their support and that you want to give them this information. So, the first thing that I recommend doing before you talk to your family is research. Look at everything, which I'm sure you already have, but look at everything regarding the weight loss surgery that you are planning on having. Excuse me, educate yourself. Find out the true facts. We all go into this process having heard things that we find out later are not true. Like things like the mortality rate of this surgery is very high. The quality of life after the surgery goes down. People struggle to be able to eat real food after surgery. So I would suggest arm yourself with that information so that when your loved one, when you talk to them, when they say, oh my God, a lot of people die having that surgery, you can give them the facts and say, well, actually, maybe a long time ago when this surgery was first being perfected, that may be true, but today it is as safe or safer than having your gallbladder removed. And then whatever anybody says, what fears they express that are erroneous, you will have that information to counter that, to explain to them, to educate them the way that you've educated yourself. The second thing that I recommend is don't get defensive. We all, when we make up our mind to do something, when we get to that point, I think that we have in our head this is the right thing for us. And it's very easy to take questions or to take somebody expressing their concerns as a personal attack. Now, sometimes that is the case, but most of the time it's not. So when a loved one says to you, oh my gosh, so many people died during that surgery, don't internalize that. Whatever anybody expresses to you, for example, when somebody says, after you have that surgery, you're going to be running to the bathroom all the time. You're not going to be able to eat food. Think, what is this person concerned about? Yes, it's probably you, but there's also probably some concern about how is this going to affect them? Are they going to be able to have you go out with them and eat? Are you going to be able to go to ball games with them if that's something that you've enjoyed doing? Or you're not going to be able to because you're going to be sick all the time. So I think that that is another big thing is don't just automatically get defensive. Don't put that wall up. Stop and say, what is this person really worried about? And address that. Another thing that I think is a good idea is role play. Role play with a trusted friend that you've shared your information with, that you're having surgery, or a counselor, or a coworker, someone that you trust. Pretend, ask them before you do the real talk. Ask them, okay, I want you to pretend like you're my mom, and I want you to throw out concerns to me, and I'm going to react in the way that I will react when this actually happens. That gives you practice. Practice makes perfect, or at least gives you confidence to have this discussion. Think about what you're going to say. How are you going to couch this? Are you going to say, listen, I've decided I'm having weight loss surgery? End of story. Probably that's going to get them on the defensive. So I would suggest maybe thinking about saying, I have been really concerned about my health. The things that I enjoy are getting harder and harder for me to do. I have had to start taking another medicine for my blood pressure, or another medicine for my cholesterol, or another medicine for diabetes, or I'm about to have to start this. And I have done a lot of research and I've talked to my healthcare provider, and this is the plan that I think and that they think will give me the absolute best quality of life. That sounds a lot different than I've decided I'm going to, very black and white. Give them a little insight into what led you to this discussion. The other thing is, you have to decide if you run up to against resistance. If you have somebody who is an absolute no, I will not help you, I will not engage with you in this, I'm against it, you can't convince me otherwise, what are you going to do? Plan ahead. Is that something that you're willing to possibly forfeit a relationship over? I don't think that that's going to happen, but just think, okay, if my sister says to me, you're crazy, you are a nut job, and I am not going to help you, I'm not going to be there for it, is that going to change your mind? Or are you going to say, I hate to hear that, but I've got to do what's best for me? Be prepared. Don't spend too much time thinking about that, because most of the time, 99% of the time, from what I have heard, people start out expressing reservations, and then as they see that this isn't a hurried decision on your part, that you've done your research, that you've thought about outcomes, that you've thought about options, that you have talked to medical professionals, they come around. So, and a lot of times, the people that you think are going to be the most resistant are the ones who, from the very front end, say, oh my gosh, that's going to be great. So just be prepared for that too. Those people that you really worry about, they may not be the ones you need to worry about. Guys, I would love to hear, what were your conversations like when you talked to your family about your decision? Did you experience negative feedback, and how did you handle it? Were you surprised at who you got positive feedback from? How have their opinions and support for your journey changed over time? I'd love to hear from you about that. I would also love to hear any video ideas, any suggestions. As I said, this is a suggestion from my favorite viewer, my husband, Don. When I told him, I remember being very concerned about telling him about what I was considering. And when I presented it to him, he said, is that dangerous? He was very concerned about my safety. Once I talked to him about it and educated him about it, he was all on board and so supportive, and I am so thankful. I hope all of you have the same thing in your life in the end. I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.